Why did Lovie Smith take such a giant step down and become the coach of Illinois football?
Yeah, this is pretty interesting. Lovie Smith just coached Tampa Bay last year in the NFL. Now, after a surprising firing of Bill Cuban at Illinois, he's hired to be the coach there. They are going to pay him $4 million to do the job. He had a buyout he could have lived on, but they are paying him a decent amount of money to coach. But he hasn't coached in college since 1995. I imagine Illinois wants somebody to wipe some of the stink off the place after what's happened in the last few months with the football program and the women's basketball program. But I'm surprised that Lovie Smith sees this job that no one's ever been able to do really well and thinks that this is how he wants to spend the next few years.
These college jobs are obviously not better than the pro jobs, but they are more secure. He's going to make 6 years, $21 million. This is the third coach for Illinois in 7 months. Nobody seems to be bothered by the fact that they just paid one guy $1 million to just go away for doing nothing while they can't pay the players. But this is a secure job for Lovie. He just left an unsecure one. He was fired prematurely. He's got 6 years to do this. This isn't something he'd get in the NFL.
Yeah, look here. College jobs, they may be secure for a whole lot of people. They ain't secure for the Lovie Smiths of the world.
Okay, but at Illinois, bad college jobs are more secure than the good college jobs.
Buy or sell 3, let's talk Lovie Smith going to college. 6 years, $21 million to coach Illinois. Kate, buy or sell?
I gotta sell this just because it was Josh Whitman, the AD's first day on the job, and he fires a guy that they had just signed to an extension to bring in Lovie Smith. It just seems like it's more of a splashy move than a long-term commitment to make Illinois better.
6 years seems like a long-term commitment, Kate. Jackie, what do you think of this move?
Yeah, I think that Lovie Smith is a man of high character, and that's what they're looking for here. They want to establish a little bit of credibility. Let's be real. If they hadn't hired Lovie Smith, we wouldn't be talking about the Illinois hire right now on this program. They wanted a big name. They wanted to get someone to get renewed interest in their program, and they got him.
Yeah, it's a big name, but it's a short time name in my opinion. Does Lovie Smith have any idea how hard it is to recruit? I've talked to many NFL coaches who've been around that will come back to college in the last couple of years, even as an assistant, and say, I can't take this recruiting, I'm out of here.
Well, Harbaugh made the move from the NFL to college, and now I think Lovie can look over there and be like, I got to do all that? Bomani, what do you think of Lovie to Illinois?
Well, I got to buy it for Illinois because that athletic department has a huge credibility problem. Look at the scandals they've had with their football program and their women's basketball program. Lovie gives them their credibility. I got to sell it for him, though. I don't see how he's going to win at a job where nobody else has managed to win. I have a feeling we're not going to say his name with that job again until they fire him.
We'll find you from Illinois. Does this make sense for Lovie Smith?
From Illinois, I hate that school.
Because you went to Northwestern.
Of course.
Understand.
Okay, that AD, he made a genius move. Genius to bring Lovie Smith. And of course it makes sense for Lovie Smith. Lovie Smith doesn't need to be sitting by the phone waiting for the NFL to call.
Here's why it makes sense to Lovie. He had no job.
Wait.
Take a job.
And he's getting paid the rest of whatever the difference by Tampa Bay still. This is a genius move. Whatever perceived weaknesses Lovie Smith has had as a head coach, they're not going to matter at this level, at college. His legendary stubbornness, sometimes not necessarily dealing all that well with media. These things don't matter. How about the stubbornness we talk about every week from college football coaches? Lovie, to me, is going to be great. As a son of the Big Ten, I think this is a great move. As a rival of that school, I hate this move because Lovie's going to win games, Tony.
I'm going to imagine that Lovie has built up a reservoir of goodwill around the Chicago area from coaching with the Bears. So I'm going to imagine that would help him get in the doors with recruits.
He's in every living room. He's in every living room automatically.
I don't know if he can recruit. I don't know. Maybe he can recruit. Here's my pushback to you, and you know this far better than I do. Illinois seems to me like a graveyard for football coaches. They stink. I mean, they are. I mean, I don't know why you would go to Illinois. In the same conference, if you could be recruited, I assume conference schools recruit. I assume Michigan recruits you, and Ohio State recruits you, and Wisconsin recruits you.
He can't be Wisconsin?
I don't know.
Of course he can.
Good.
Lovie Smith has been to a Super Bowl. Tony, this is the first reason any kid from Chicago particularly has a reason to go to Illinois, because Lovie Smith provides an identity. Let me mention the side.
It is a graveyard, though, is it not for coaches?
Illinois has hired Lovie Smith as their new head coach. Illinois has been good. They've got a new AD. They've been going through head coaches in different
I saw the AD
there.
came in and fired the coach immediately.
Right. There was an interim coach last year. He went, I believe, 5-7, if my memory serves. Yes, 5-7. And they signed him to a 2-year contract in November of just this past year. And then the new AD came in and fired him. But they've had turnover at a number of sports with their head coach. And then this was talked about as happening. And now, as you just read it has happened, so Lovie Smith, after being let go in Tampa so they could get the offensive coordinator there because they had a relationship with Jameis Winston, we're starting to see that trend this year. I thought that interesting because I thought Lovie Smith would get another chance in the NFL, and he seemed to have jumped at this opportunity right now. And they needed to hire a coach because spring ball is starting in a lot of places right now, and they weren't going to start that spring ball until they hired a coach. So they got a great one. Think about the Big Ten, which, by the way, has 14 teams. Lovie Smith, Urban Meyer, Jim Harbaugh, I mean, coaching in the Big Ten. Kirk Ferentz from Iowa has talked about, every year, every other year in the NFL. D'Antonio in Michigan State. I mean, you want to talk about power coaches in a conference. It's pretty impressive.